Everybody, welcome to the Jim Master Show Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show series. Boy, are we honored to have you here and honored to have some celebrity friends and special guests joining us as we celebrate the incomparable Linda Lavin, who we just lost not that long ago. And some of the folks that are joining us here on the program, not only are we honored and delighted to have them, it's a very busy time of the year. They wanted to be here, every single one of them. When we reached out to them and said, hey, we're going to do a very special tribute to the iconic television, film, stage actress and singer Linda Lavin, who we lost suddenly back in December, to the shock of everybody, because she was still performing and she was still, in series and doing so many incredible things with everybody. When we reached out to this group and a few others who did want to be here tonight, but, there are things that had happened that called them away, but they send their love, and I'll let you know who they are in just a minute. This group said, tell me when, tell me where, and they popped on, and we're so honored to have them here. So we've got some surprise celebrity special guests joining us as we do celebrate the one and only, the extraordinary Linda Lavin. Again, you guys know I work in broadcast media, I work in television, I work in radio and everything. So when it is somebody who has a television connection, I really am extra, interested in celebrating them. But we celebrate so many people in music and the arts and entertainment every single way that we can. And the group we have assembled here celebrating Linda, well, they all have known and worked with her personally. And they are dear friends. They've worked with her professionally, but they've been dear friends of hers as well. So we put together an illustrious list of guests here joining us in just a second. Of course, many people know the wonderful Linda Lavin from this iconic series, which is Alice, and the beloved Alice. And so many of us, grew up with that series. So many of us have loved that series and everybody involved in it, Vic Tayback and the whole group. Share your memories too, watching live, if you have some memories of Alice, because I know when we posted that this was going to be on this special tribute, so many of you had said, oh, I love Alice, I love the series. But of course, Linda Lavin, so much more than just Alice. She's been on Broadway, theater, singing, all the stages. She's done it all. Back to television, even Barney Miller. Do you remember when she was a part of Barney Miller? She sure was. So many great shows and series, so many movies too, movies of the week, CBS Saturday morning specials. I mean, really incredible. This is another great one. This is Conrad Bloom. She was in that cast as well. And she was also, you may remember, Sean Saves the World. She was in that. So many great things. When we were reviewing, taking a look at her illustrious body of work, I forgot about so many of the things that she was a part of. And this is the Room for Two cast, and there she is in that as well. I mean, so many. And of course, 9JKL, she was in that. She was in everything. She was a prolific talent everywhere. On your television, on your screen, on stage was Linda Lavin. She left her indelible, incredible, loving mark on television and stage and film in such a beautiful way, and the stage. And here's some more. Of course, this is from Be Positive. You may remember she also provided voice work for Bob's Burgers. She was also in Nancy Drew in The Hidden Staircase. I'm sure this is jogging your memory. Do you remember when she was also in Muppets Take Manhattan? There she is with Kermit, and so much more. Again, hanging out with the Muppets. She was also in this as well, do you remember this one? This brings back memories too, A Matter of Life and Death. Here's another one. We really dug deep here. Stolen Memories, who's in that with Mary Tyler Moore. You see him on the cover there. How about Lena? My 100 Children. That goes back. Here's another one. A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes. This is the wonderful story that, of course, Annette Funicello, and that was absolutely beautifully done. Here's another great one she was in, the $5.20 an hour Dream. This goes back. As I said, she has graced us with her wit and wisdom on so many great venues. This is a place called home. She was in that. Do you remember Linda in Wonderland? Here's another great shot of Manhattan Night. She was in this as well with Adrian Brody. I Want to Go Home. And as I mentioned, the Annette Funicello story, that's another great one. And of course, Best Friends for Life. And she was even on the game shows too, making appearances on Hollywood Squares. We just did a tribute recently to the late Peter Marshall and had a whole bunch of fabulous celebrity guests joining us for that. And recently, No Good Deed, and also Mid-Century Modern on Hulu. Some things that were very recent, some still in production. She really was a class act, a witty person, a loving person, feisty, spunky, curious. Remember the episode of Alice when Desi Arnaz joined her? She was really something special, and she is, of course, dearly missed. And of course, you guys might not know that not only an American actress and singer, but known for all those roles on stage and screen, she received several awards, including 3 Drama Desk Awards, 2 Golden Globe Awards, 2 Obie Awards, a Tony Award, as well as nominations for a Daytime Emmy Award, Primetime Emmy Award, and she was inducted into the American Theater Hall of Fame. And as a child, she joined the Compass Players in the late 1950s. She grew up in beautiful Portland, Maine on the coast. And of course, she made her television debut in Rhoda and had the recurring role in Barney Miller. And then she gained notoriety for playing the title role of a waitress at a roadside diner on the CBS sitcom Alice, which went from 9 years, 1976 to 1985 for 9 years, a role for which she was nominated for the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series and 2 consecutive Golden Globe Awards for Best Actress in a Television Series, Musical, or Comedy. And then she, of course, starred later in NBC sitcom Sean Saves the World, and the list goes on. Her accolades are extraordinary, her talent extraordinary. So when she passed, folks, I quickly said, because we were actually away in Florida visiting our family for the holidays when she passed, and I got the announcement, and I said, when we get back, we need to put something together and let's round up some amazing people, some familiar faces you may be aware of as well, joining us here on the show. I'm going to bring them to your attention right now as, again, we celebrate not only Alice, but we celebrate the wonderful Linda Lavin in this special tribute. You want to see who's joining us here? How about another Jim? The one and only Jim Caruso is here.
Hi, Jim.
Entertainer, the guy that makes that cast party hum at Birdland, not only in New York, but takes it on the road, coast to coast, London, so much more. Jim, it's an honor to have you here on the show.
Thank you. Anytime I can talk about Linda Lavin, I am happy to do it. She was one of the greatest humans in my life.
Well, I appreciate your making time for us because I know you're very busy and it's a beautiful way to celebrate her. So thanks for joining us, my friend. And another accomplished talent, an extraordinary person, actor and playwright, performer, cabaret, entertainer, novelist, all of it. Charles Busch is returning to the Jim Masters Show. Charles, welcome, my friend. He's coming to us from a secret location.
My lighting could be improved.
Well, your personality is always there, and that's what counts. Welcome, Charles. It's good to have you back on our show, especially as we have this celebrity tribute to the wonderful Linda Lavin.
Yes, well, I owe her a great deal. You can't see my beautiful apartment. I was told to get it because she made a play of mine that Tell the Alger's Wife a big hit. So this is the Linda Lavin office right here.
Now, is that the Allergist's Wife?
Yes.
Yes, of course. There it is. Mm-hmm. That's right. And that it was something near and dear to your heart, of course, I know. And we'll talk about that coming up. Somebody else that's joining us here knew her very well, revered entertainment lawyer for so many people that we know and love, working with the incomparable Lucy Arnaz, who's a dear friend of all of ours as well. And of course, the entertainment lawyer, but also dear friend of Linda Lavin, Mark Sendorf is joining us here. Mark, welcome to the show, my friend. It's a real honor and pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Jim. I'm the only person here I've never heard of.
Well, after tonight's show, everybody's going to know who you are.
I'm also thrilled to be here because I love Linda as the other guests did. We were all good friends of hers. You put together a tight-knit bunch of people that she really cared about. And what was unusual about her is for someone who was, such a big star and so beloved, she really behaved like a friend. Like a sister or a friend. She was, texting all day and really interested in everything that you did. And she was very unique as a star, in my opinion. Everybody just adored her. That was
I agree. And we're going to chat about that. And you've sent some really beautiful photos that we're going to share as well. And we have another great guest who's an incredible performer and entertainer, but also jazz violinist, mandolinist, and he's also an arranger. And I believe he's also a bow tie activist. Aaron Weinstein is in the house. Aaron, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's so great to have you here, and I appreciate it. And you've had an opportunity to work with Linda, and you've done some wonderful work on the internet with her as well, right? A whole series of videos and cool stuff.
We're going right there.
There it is. Look at that.
That'll give you nightmares. Yeah. Which was part of the idea of that, which we could get into later. I knew Linda for far less time than the rest of the panel. I only knew her for like 15 years, and but she had an enormous impact on my both musical and also personal life.
And we'll share that as we go along. I mentioned, some of her incredible accolades, and we could do 5 hours on all the things that she's been a part of and the lives that she's touched. Jim, I'll start with you. Do you recall the first time you met Linda Lavin, and what was that like?
Do I ever? We used to love to tell people that we met at the White House. Because we did. I was part of a vocal trio, and when President Clinton was inaugurated, I was asked to be part of a Broadway Goes to Washington extravaganza. By the way, I was not on Broadway, had never been on Broadway, but I knew Broadway people, so I guess that counted. So when we were watching Joel Grey sing Yankee Doodle Dandy, he grabbed my hand and we were both crying. It was such a beautiful, dramatic, thrilling, patriotic moment. And I thought, oh, this lady's fantastic. And then we toured the White House together. I have video. I had a little video camera. So I have video of the two of us touring the White House randomly. So much fun. So from that point on, she would call me and say, "This is Linda from the White House." And that's how the friendship started. And from that point on, we were fast friends. My life was never the same.
It's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I've seen in just reviewing some of the material that we had that you sent along, you really, when you guys were together, you had a heck of a hoot of a time, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what we had in common was our absolute thrill in terrible jokes, ridiculous Henny Youngman bad lines. We laughed nonstop, and we have a million pictures of us laughing, which I love, of course, now. So much laughter, so much. She had such an unmatched passion for life. Her wit, her talent, her musicality, the generosity was unbelievable. I was in the hospital at one point, and was decades ago. And a friend was going to pick me up and told her, and she said, "How are you getting home?" And he said, "Well, let's get in the cab." She sent a limo. There was no cab, absolutely no cab for somebody who was coming out of the hospital. Just incredibly generous. And Mark touched on it. When her interest in all of us was real and not phony baloney, how are you? When she said, how are you? She listened to the answer. And I don't know if it's maybe a show business thing. Not everybody does that. She actually cared about the answer. And I think that incredible ability to be interested in people, to have empathy, is one reason she was such a brilliant actress. She cared about people.
She really did. Tell us about some of the fabulous projects you got a chance to work on with her that you really are most proud of.
Well, she hadn't done a nightclub act in decades and saw what I did with Billy Strich. And she came up afterwards and said, I want to do that again. I said, well, yeah, you should completely do that again. You're such a good singer, such a good musician, so funny, such great stories. Why wouldn't that be great? And she said, I'll only do it if you help me. So we went to the Catskills and performed in an all-purpose room, putting this show together that somebody had bought, not with Billy. Billy was on the road at that point with Liza Minnelli. So we did it with another wonderful musical director. We put this show together, and it was the basis for the act she did for, many years to come. And we were like, it was honestly the weirdest place. We were cleaning the venue before they opened the doors for the people. She and I were literally cleaning. It was a weird way to start, but it was very successful for her. And she went on to play the biggest rooms in the country. And I got to book her at Birdland many, dozens of times, which was always my great honor.
Tell us about Birdland and Cast Party for folks watching who would be hard to believe might not know about it, because it is something. And I've been there, Claire Blackhurst and so many others performing.
Yes, everybody on this panel has been to Cast Party. I'm happy to tell you. Cast Party is an open mic night variety show that's been running at Birdland for about 21 years, which is so scary. Happily, Billy Strich at the piano. We have a great trio. And it's everyone from superstars to up-and-comers to people that really should be arrested for loitering in front of a microphone. But it's so much fun, and it's just become the joy of my life over these 20 years. And Linda was a big part of that, and was just with us in Los Angeles last month in November, 2 months ago. We were in LA. We went to see a taping of Mid-Century Modern, which he was absolutely brilliant, along with Nathan Lane and an incredible cast. But then the next night was Cast Party. She came, she sang There's a Small Hotel. Steve sang, her husband, of course, Steve. I mean, it's really a family affair with all of us. And the success of Cast Party is very much due to Linda and her friends and people like Linda that got on board and sang for nothing, just for fun.
That's the kind of person that she was. Mark, how about you? When did you first meet Linda? Do you remember that moment?
As vividly as Jim remembers meeting her in the White House, Linda and I both could never recall how we met. I think it was Jim that introduced us. And early in the relationship, I remember taking her to the opening of Feinstein's at the Regency. And we wound up sitting at a glamorous table, but right next to us was Eartha Kitt, who she kind of knew but from the olden days, but didn't really know her well. But about halfway through the meal, I started to feel Linda's elbow nudging me. And I looked, and Eartha Kitt was taking the breadsticks and putting them in her pocketbook. So we had a breadstick, Eartha stealing breadstick joke from that day till the last. That's when it started. I would say mid-90s.
And you had an opportunity really to work with her on so many different levels, as of course her attorney and so much more. What was that relationship like? And what is that kind of, somebody not familiar with the work of an entertainment attorney and lawyer, tell us about some of the incredible work that you were involved in with her.
Well, I was just looking at the parade of photos of projects that she did, and I have to say, half of those projects I had no idea she did. I can't wait to see if any of it is available. But I started to work with her in the mid '90s, and I did all of her Broadway shows and off Broadway. She was so versatile that one time it would be a Broadway show, and when I said I did it, I negotiated her deals. I acted as the liaison. That was the Eartha Kitt night that you just put that up. But we started out as friends, and then as her career kept, I won't say diversifying, but maintained itself in so many different arenas. I don't know of anybody who did cabaret and concert and television regularly and films. There was a bit of a lag on the films, but then it came back strong as can be. I was happy to introduce her to her terrific agent, Bill Valoric, at Innovative Artists. And he, also became like a son or a brother to her. And they were very, very close. And so the work, he submitted her for certain things, but she was Linda Lavin, and there wasn't anybody, but there were very few that were anything like her. So the work just came in all the different ways. And she was very easy. She wasn't demanding. She was very appreciative. She was really a joy as a client. Never gave me a hard time. It was lucrative, and yet there were things that I did happily that there was no money connected to, because that was her career. And that was the last time I saw her. We went out to dinner at the Smokehouse, one of her favorite restaurants, and I stayed in her beautiful house. And it's a joy. We spent a lot of time in Provincetown together. We both loved lobster, and that was one of the running gags. Yeah. Oh, hello.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. With Marilyn May and Billy and my friend Dan Guerrero and Linda, she was just one of the gang, and I wasn't accustomed to having such ease with someone that I revered like that. There are only a handful in my life, and she was, she insisted on being photographed at my front door at my house in Palm Springs, because she came into the house and she didn't see enough pictures of herself, because I had a lot of celebrity pictures, and I had some of her, but no, it wasn't enough. So she posed that one, and it hangs in my powder room.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
There's some other ones that you sent along, which are great.
Oh, look at that. I mean, she was born to do that role, and she was fantastic in it. And there's some YouTube footage also, anybody curious. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We had a great trip to North Carolina. Aaron and Jim and I were there with Bucky Pizzarelli and a bunch of fabulous people. She was doing a concert in North Carolina, and we got to hang out. We were all at the same bed and breakfast, and it was like just going away with buddies. You were never aware that she was anything but the most fun buddy you could have.
It's a great shot as well.
Yeah, Aaron Sorkin.
Another great one. Really special, I tell you. Really shots.
That we were at the Purple Room for Linda Pearl's show. She
Linda Pearl, yeah.
And there's
Patrick
her.
Duffy's there, and
yes, what a lovely couple
her
they
husband,
are.
Steve.
And I got to tell you, while we were waiting for the show to start, Linda and Steve, they were avid card players and game players. And at this club, you have to show up a little bit early to make sure that all the food gets served in time, et cetera, so they don't serve during the show. And Linda and Steve took out, they had our meal. 45 minutes later, we had to kill an hour. They took out a deck of cards, and they played cards. Everybody was watching them play cards, and I looked at them. I said, "Is that normal?" And she said, "We do it everywhere we go."
Yeah, that's a great story. Oh, boy, there's a great shot too, huh?
That's really early, huh?
Mm, that's another great one. And here's another terrific one.
Oh yeah, that's pretty recent. Kevin Alvey took that shot.
Yep. Kevin took some
Let's talk about
gorgeous
Steve.
shots of them together.
Let's talk about her husband for a minute. This was a match made in heaven. She had some previous unhappy marriages, and I don't know if she was looking to hook up again, but when she was in North Carolina doing a movie, a friend set her up with this guy who was younger and not from the world of show business. He was kind of a free spirit, and they just clicked, and they became the most inspirational couple I've ever known. He can do anything. I mean, she needed him to do a lot, and everything worked. He was a contractor, so he built the homes. He was a drummer. He drove her. He was an artist. He did a one-man show. He became an actor. They formed a theater in North Carolina, a small theater out of an old ramshackle property.
He built it. He built that theater.
And they appeared opposite each other. All of a sudden, he was a leading actor opposite Linda. It was amazing what he did. She really adored him, and he was a guy who really had never been around celebrities or show folk, and he hadn't really been around a lot of gays either. And all of a sudden, Linda's friends, a lot of them are gay, and here he was in the middle of it all, and it was a new experience for him, but he befriended all of us. We all feel as close to him, as we were to her. And very, very special relationship. I've not seen one like that.
Absolutely. He had posted a very moving. Did you see the video he did, which can be seen on the internet? Just raw and real, and even telling you almost play by play how things happened. And it was just beautifully done. Not everybody can pull that off in such a natural way, but he did. And you can hear in his voice and just see in his eyes the love he had for her, revered her. And that's a beautiful thing for people to see, not just the fans, but just people in general, to see that love that came a little bit later in life that meant so much to both of them, which is so important. Charles Busch there in that secret location. Do you remember the first time you met wonderful Linda Lavin?
I don't actually, but I think I saw her in a play called Death Defying Acts, and it was just about the time that I was thinking about writing this play that ended up being The Tale of the Alger's Wife. And I was so taken with her in this play that I just couldn't keep her out of my mind. And so as I wrote the play, I wrote the lead for her. And when I finished it, I gave it to Lynn Meadow, who's the artistic director of Manhattan Theater Club, which is a marvelous nonprofit theater here in New York. And she said, let's do a reading of the play right away. And who's your dream actress? And I said, Linda Lavin. And so we got her. And it was the most extraordinary kind of cold reading. We just had a bunch of people sitting around a table reading the parts. But she gave a performance that it was just extraordinary. And when it was over, Lynn Meadow and I just rushed over to Linda and so, will you do the play? Will you do it? And she said, I have to think about it. And she had only recently, I think, met Steve, and did not want to get involved in a play that was going to take so much energy, and it's an enormous role. But I just pursued her, and I would show up in different cities where she'd be, certain restaurants there. I would happen to show up and just begged her and wrote shameless love letters, comparing her to all the greatest actresses of the 20th century. And then I think Lynn Meadow also really, talked her into it. So we were so lucky, and she did the play. And then that's how we became friends. And it's so interesting seeing when you showed that montage of all the things she did, it's rather remarkable that if she had only done television, she'd be so well known and revered. And if she only had done theater, it was a full theatrical life. And in a way, if she'd only done music, that would have been enough for anyone's career. But for me, I think of her as a great stage actress, and it was also interesting too that she was wonderful when she was young, and in a way she got even better, I think, as years go by. I think in the third act of her life, which kind of coincides with my play, which was 25 years ago. Oh my God, I don't think she'd ever been better. And well, this little thing you have on the screen was in 2019. Linda thought that for the 20th anniversary of the play, that we should do a kind of a concert version of it at a Broadway house. And she put it all together. And I said, well, naturally, you'll play your part, because she never aged. And she said, no, you play my part. And she thought she would play the role of the mother, because the actress who created that role, Cheryl Bernheim, had passed away a few years before. And she put this all together, got the rest of the original cast together, Michelle Lee and Tony Roberts and Anil Kumar. And I tell you, to be on stage with her was, it was just the most fascinating thing. It was like riding a roller coaster. She was so present, so in the moment, that you never knew exactly what she was going to do, and yet it was all seemed right, because it was so based in honesty and truth. But yet she might emphasize some odd word, but it made perfect sense. And so for me as an actor, not just as a writer, to have that opportunity for that one night to be on stage with her and to respond and hopefully match her in honesty, because you couldn't be a fake with her. It was one of the greatest nights of my life. It really was.
She touched so many people in such enduring and long-lasting ways with these stories that we're hearing. We're welcoming everybody watching around the world. I'm your host, Jim Masters. We're here with an illustrious group of people that not only worked with the incomparable Linda Lavin, who miss her dearly like I do, and we all do, and I know our viewers do as well, but they had opportunities to also call her a dear friend. And many here have been with her for a long time, and they're sharing their personal stories with us here exclusively, and we really appreciate that. And Aaron had an opportunity to do some really cool things with the wonderful Linda Lavin as well. What was the first time you had an opportunity to be introduced to and to meet Linda, Aaron?
I met Linda actually through Jim Caruso. It was because of Cast Party. I was there one night, and she also happened to be there. And I played, and I guess I should say I didn't know who she, it's embarrassing to admit, but I didn't know who she was at the time. And so I played, and this woman came over to me afterwards and said all sorts of really nice things about what she had seen me do. And she said, I'm a singer and I'm an actress, and I'm in a show right now, and I want you to come see it. And I was like, oh, okay. And she said, it's at Manhattan Theater Club. And I'm thinking, oh, like maybe she's like a professional actress. And I went to see the show, which was called Collected Stories, a great play. And in the second act, there's this long speech that Linda did. It's just a 2-character play. She was playing opposite Sarah Paulson. In the second act, she did the speech, which was an aria, and she treated it like a musician. I mean, it was this extraordinary thing. It was one of the great things I've ever seen on stage. And I was thinking, wow, she's really good. This person this is a special person. And I went backstage after to talk to her. And she gave me work. She says, oh, I want to do this song, and I want you to arrange it. And what's weird about that is at the time, she didn't know. I mean, I do a lot of arranging, but she didn't know any of that. So as far as she knew, I couldn't, read music. But I wrote this chart for her, and she liked it. And then she gave me immediately, she said, oh, here's 5 more songs that I want to do, and I want you to. And it was the beginning of a wonderful working relationship, writing her arrangements. And then she wanted me to start performing with her. And I think, from that point, and around 2010, I guess, till, now. I think I might have missed a few, but for the most part, I think I did all the concerts that she did. And then during the pandemic, we did a project together, and I did some writing for her then.
Tell us about that project, because it's kind of fun and it's kind of cool.
Sure. Early days of the pandemic, everyone was trying to find something to do to stay sane, and I was making these just little, like, 30-second, 90-second videos to amuse myself and to amuse whoever wanted to watch them. And I did one with my mother. And at this time, Linda and I were chatting most days. She was in New York, away from Steve, and it was I think a challenging time for her. So we were talking a lot and just trying to make sense of everything. And I did this little sketch with my mother and posted it. And that night she called and she said, who is that other actress that you did this sketch with? I saw you did a sketch with another actress. I said, Linda, it's my mother. And she said, well, I want you to write a sketch for me. And I was like, I would never ask her to do this, but if she's asking me to, I said, great. Do you want to play yourself or do you want to play a character? And immediately she said, I want to play your Yenta agent. And so either that night or the next day, I sent her a little script, and we did it, and we had a good time doing it, and people seemed to have a good time watching it. And so we did about one a week for 4.5 months. Which was a lot of fun, a lot of tedious work putting them together and staying ahead of schedule, so to speak. But I have a lot of fond memories of working with her on that.
She was your vet, right?
Yeah, I mean, she was this agent, and she would on Sundays we would record her part. And I knew she was ready because I'd get a text with her looking like that. She would, and I mean, what I think is, I mean, we all know what kind of actress she was and the kind of career she had. And for someone who's had that career to be so thrilled to go through her own closet during COVID and find her own costume and then do her own makeup in whatever she feels is the sufficiently hideous way that Yvette should look in this, given whatever the circumstance was. And she would just send me the text of her in full makeup, and she would go through her part of the script, and then I would assemble her performance, and then I would do my half of it, kind of with her already assembled parts. So it kind of became a timing thing for me to fit in with what she was doing. But one of my favorite, to the extent we can say favorite pandemic memories, it was, I forget what day we would post these things, but the night before I would send her the thing already done, hoping that she didn't have any issues with it. And she would always call laughing, just, howling. She got such joy out of watching herself be such a character. And it was really nice to get to hear that on the other side of the phone every week for the duration of that little series.
She was Yvette. Is it Slosh?
Yes, Yvette Slosh. Yes, the one.
We actually have a tiny little clip of the two in action. I think it's like a promo type thing, but it's a short clip just to show what Aaron is describing and the banter between the two of them. Take a look at this: Linda Lavin and Aaron in action.
Hello.
Hello. What are you doing Friday? I'll tell ya. Zoom.
Like a Zoom concert?
Better. Shabbat services at Temple Bethech. I'm a member.
Okay, why would they want jazz violin for Shabbat service?
People don't know what they want until you show them. That's why you're doing a Zoom bomb.
A what?
I read about it in the Times. You find a Zoom, you just pop in.
But why
like a photo bomb.
Right, but who?
It's Zoom.
No, I get
Zoom.
it. I got it. Zoom bomb. Right, but why would someone do that?
Well, usually they're out to commit a hate crime. So imagine the delight of Temple Beth Ech when it turns out to be you playing Gershwin on your jazz violin.
Oh my God, that would be horrifying.
And do Irving Berlin, Harold Arlen.
I don't mean
Just
the
stay away
music.
from Cole Porter. Make sure it's one of our people.
No, I mean Zoom hacking into a synagogue on the Sabbath.
Prime time. And Temple Beth Ech is a veritable who's who. You do good there, you'll be playing that circuit faster than you can say gold in my ear.
Okay, I think that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
You know the craziest thing I ever heard?
No, but that's okay.
You and that Scott singer doing a 12-minute version of Embraceable You was like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but jazz.
You know, a very prestigious acoustic jazz blog voted that best concert of last year.
Well, now it's this year, and you're sitting home giving Skype lessons.
I just don't quite understand how jazz violin is a good match for the Book of Leviticus.
You think Da Vinci worried about whether he was a good match for the Sistine Chapel?
No. I mean, Da Vinci
That's
didn't...
right. He took the gig. He understood the business. He knew if you're not appearing, you're disappearing.
Da Vinci wasn't in the business.
And neither will you if you don't get off your
No, I'm
tuchus.
happy to play at a synagogue, but I mean, can't it be a schedule?
Friday night, Temple Beth Ech. And Sunday,
day of rest.
Pondview Mega Church. For them, you do Cole Porter.
I don't think
Which reminds me, I got to get their Zoom for my cheesemonger. Call me back.
I mean,
That's like
unbelievable.
I have somewhere. Jim, I think you do too. Her just saying Temple Beth. Do you have?
yeah.
It's on my phone. It's absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to come up with those types of skits, and was all of it written, or is there any ad lib? I mean, it looks so natural.
There's a video. I mean, if you go on YouTube and look for Yvette Slosh, there's a video called How It's Made, and I kind of walk through the process of it. I mean, because we were in isolation, and she had to give me her performance first. There was no room for any ad libbing, so it was all very scripted, and you know, it was just trying to make it look like it wasn't terribly scripted and more of a conversation. It was just, I mean, look, there was nothing else happening, so you had the time to do these things.
But there was in her apartment. She was busy. She was doing her own concerts. She ended up doing concerts with Billy. They lived in the same building, she and Billy Strich. So they got together, and very early in the pandemic, they started doing online shows when nobody was doing anything. Oh, that's Billy. There.
They were doing some really fun things together. And of course, Billy, who wanted to be here tonight, wasn't available. He already had another commitment, but he was very excited that we were doing this because, as we all know, he really had a true respect and just a beautiful relationship with Linda. And you know, he was kind enough as well to create, because he really, really wanted to be here, a very special, beautifully well thought out, but from the heart video that he wanted to share with all of us and all of our viewers. And we're going to share his words right now. Again, when he and I were chatting, again, he really wanted to be here, but he already had another commitment. And he said, but I still want to find a way to get on the show. I said, if you want to do a video, you can put something together. We'll gladly put this on. So he went through the trouble, as he's still, as everybody is, grieving the loss of such a dear friend of his. This very touching video for all of us to really appreciate. So here is our friend, the incredible composer, arranger, pianist, just great guy, the beloved Billy Strich here, sharing his words with all of us about his relationship and friendship and love of Linda Lavin. Here is Billy's incredible words, and we thank Billy for doing this.
Hi, Jim. Thanks for letting me come on your show tonight to talk about our dear friend Linda Lavin. It still doesn't seem real to me that she's gone. This past week has been like a bad dream. And I just don't know how to process a lot of it. But talking about her does help. I feel like I've lost just about the closest friend I ever had. Linda got me on such a deep level, musically and humor, and she was just one of those rare people that I knew that I could tell her anything, the deepest, darkest parts of me, and it was safe. And I'm going to miss that so very, very much. We shared a lot together. We shared great times together, she and I, and she and Steve and I, and she and Jim Caruso and I. I mean, we have so many great memories of shared times, trips we took. We went to London a couple of years ago, which was something she always wanted to do, was play in London. And we did that. It was exciting. We spent time with her in North Carolina when she was living in Wilmington, just all over the place. LA, she moved around a lot. So we got a chance to spend time with her just about every place that she and Steve lived. And they really did like to live in lots of different places. Just when they were getting ready, just when they were in one place, they said, we're going to sell it and we're going to move someplace else. And of course, Steve, what an amazing guy he is in so many ways. There's just about nothing he can't do. And so between Linda's design skill and visual skill and Steve's ability to like take anything and build it and learn how to build it and expand, and they were just an amazing couple. I mean, what a team they were. But I'm digressing from the reason I wanted to come on tonight was really to talk about the relationship that we had as collaborators musically. We had so much fun on stage together. I loved coming up with arrangements for her. And as I always have said, it was always very collaborative. I mean, Linda would come to me with fabulous ideas, and we would just brainstorm and work them through and create wonderful things together, sometimes by ourselves, sometimes with the help of Aaron Weinstein. We really just created some great music that I'm extraordinarily proud of. And performing with her was just a dream, we just got each other. I mean, I don't think anyone has got me musically, and I could just read her mind. And it was just like being safe on stage, I mean, we could just go as far as we wanted to, and we knew that we had each other on stage. It's just such a feeling. It's hard to describe that feeling, but it's like you're flying holding hands with somebody, and there really isn't any reason to fear that you'll fall because, we've got each other. And it's such a profound, deep feeling that's hard to describe. Today I was walking my dogs. As you could see, it's a very snowy day. And I was really thinking about that time 4 years ago when the world kind of totally shut down. It was very interesting because at the time, Linda and Steve had an apartment right here in my building, 3 floors above me. And so they also were spending time in LA, and they had recently bought a little condo in Costa Rica. I said they like to buy and sell, and they were really like the property brothers, brother and sister, the property couple. But so they were in LA, and this is like around middle of March 2020. Linda was flying to New York to begin rehearsals for a show, an off-Broadway show. And Steve was flying down to Costa Rica to do some work on the new condo. And they had no reason to think when they flew off in different directions that it would be 5 months before they saw each other again. But that's exactly what happened. Linda came here with the dog, with their sweet dog, Mickey. And Steve went to Costa Rica, and about 2 days later, everything shut down and flights were stopped. And they couldn't get to each other. So Doug and I were here with our 2 dogs, and Linda was upstairs with Mickey, and we became each other's bubble. In those first dark days when you really couldn't see anybody, go out, and we were totally distanced. We were about 3 days into it when Linda said, gosh, it would be great if we could do something musically, if we could do a show and share it somehow. And so she's the one that came up with the idea of doing these Wednesday afternoon matinee at home concerts. That was totally her idea. And with the help of my partner, Doug, we were able to put out these little 35, 40, 45-minute shows every week on Facebook Live. And I really think that we were among the first people to do that. I've gotten so many lovely messages this week through social media and personally about how much they enjoyed the concerts that we did online during those first 3 months of the pandemic. It really bonded us even deeper because, as I said, it was literally the two of us plus Doug, three of us plus our three dogs. And we would meet and we would walk the dogs together, wearing our masks, distanced. But what a time it was. We got to really, really grow closer, if that's even possible. And musically, we got to keep those musical impulses going. There was no club to work at. And, but we inspired each other. She really inspired me to play the piano and come up with arrangements. And we would get together the day before upstairs in her apartment, distanced, and we'd go through songbooks and come up with themes for the show. It was just like making the best out of the worst. And that's what one of Linda's millions of talents, was making everything better, making us smile, sharing her gift with all of us. Words really fail me at a time like this, but I'm going to miss that so much. She just had such a joy and such a spark and she was so alive. And she loved to sing. I mean, nothing made me happier than when she nailed that high note and threw her head back and held on to it. And it was just total joy. She loved doing it and she loved sharing it. And anyone that ever saw her will agree with that. She loved to show off. She loved to be the center of attention. She was the first to say that. And she was good at it. So I encourage everybody to go online, check out some of the things we did together that she did on her own. And also there's a couple of albums that we did, one called Possibilities that we did about 12 years ago. And then the one we did right before the pandemic called Love Notes, Linda Lavin, on Club 44 Records. And Aaron did some fine work on that. And our friend Wayne Hahn did some beautiful work. And it was a great time together. Linda was really proud of it. I was really proud of it. I'm so happy that music lives on. I don't know what I'm going to do without her. Every day gets a little easier, but it's going to be a long time. But thanks for letting me just come on. I feel like I'm just rambling, but it's helping me. It's helping me feel better to talk about her, and knowing that on this show are a lot of other people that loved her like I did. So, Jim, I appreciate the opportunity so much. And Linda, I don't know what I'm going to do without you. You're irreplaceable, but you're always going to be in my heart. And I just, it's not going to be the same, but I was lucky to know you. I was blessed to know you, and I'm going to miss you. Anyway, I love you all. Thanks for watching, and thanks for tuning in to honor our dear friend.
Beautifully said, gang, huh?
Top that.
Yeah.
Beautifully said. Anybody want to add anything to what Billy said, Jim?
No. No, he said it so much better than I could ever. She was an incredible friend. She was a brilliant actress. I loved watching her. As Billy said, nobody loved performing more. To be on stage with her was thrilling. To be in the audience watching her was dazzling. Nobody like Linda.
And you guys had so many amazing moments and so many great times together, as well as Billy had mentioned. Some dear moments. Mark, when you hear these kinds of comments, when you see these kinds of things that are being shared, knowing her as well as you did, and you work with some amazing people in the industry and have for many years in the entertainment field, how does that make you feel? I imagine you're like, yep, that's Linda. Sure, that's Linda. Yep, that was Linda.
Well, what was unique about her is that she went out on top. She was probably had the greatest opportunity she's had in a very long time. That she was cast in the show Mid-Century Modern, which is destined to be a hit show. She was being paid very handsomely. She was scoring with every line that she said, which is always the case. But usually the material, at least on television series, was not up to her performance. And she was always the best thing in it. One of those actresses where all the friends walk away say, you were the best thing in it. Well, this time, this was a top of the heap opportunity, and she was just about to ride it when this unexpectedly horrific death happened. And so I really feel badly that she didn't get to enjoy that more. But how many 87-year-old actresses leave the business when they are, in demand that way? I mean, this happens to be a hit television series, but she's on another series now that's running on Netflix. She just had done a couple of movies. She could do anything she wanted. She was the one and only Linda Lavin. And I shared with her a love of singers. We used to listen to Anita O'Day and Margaret Whiting and all those dames from the 50s and the 60s, and we had the exact same musical taste in that regard. And I feel like Billy. I feel like I've lost a best friend, and I'm being denied the opportunity to enjoy her performance at this age. Every age she was a different actress, and this one is heartbreaking. So I will be missing her and thinking of her all the time.
Absolutely. There are those performers, entertainers, people that come into our lives, like a Sammy Davis Jr. and others who are multi-talented. I mean, they can sing and dance and tell jokes, and they can make you laugh. They can make you cry. They can really touch us in so many ways. And when you do review, I mean, a lot of people, of course, when you hear Linda Lavin, one of the first things I would say is probably Alice, the long-running 9-year beloved sitcom on CBS, and her role in that, and all the different myriad variations of her singing the open every year of those many years of that iconic series. But when you look at the body of work, the scope of the body of work, it is extraordinary. She is one of those talents, those entertainers, those performers, those creatives who took risks, let herself be seen, makeup on, makeup off, and really just gave us the best of who she was in all these different venues: stage, television, film, Broadway, whatever it is, right? She just took it and ran with it.
Yes, she did.
Which is amazing, you think, again, like of the Sammy Davis Jr. types and people who, when you look at their lives and their body of work, it's incredible to see all that's been done. Like you gentlemen said, there's things that, did you know that she was on Hollywood Squares?
No, I didn't. I assumed.
She was on Hollywood Squares. And from her television work, were there favorite roles or obviously Alice was something beloved by so many, and we know a lot of viewers are talking about that in the comments section. There she is with Vic Tayback. And of course, we lost Philip McKeon too early as well. What a brilliant, talented actor that he was, brother to Nancy McKeon. But that series left an indelible mark in the lives of people as well. Did you guys enjoy Alice?
Absolutely. And I loved hearing her talk about how important it was because it threw a spotlight on pink collar workers at a time when nobody was talking about working women. And I think that was a really important thing. It politicized her,
Yeah.
and it got a lot of people to the marches and to think about their place in the world that might not have happened otherwise. I think she was extremely proud of that.
She really did. I remember there was a situation where I think she was making a speech and she had decided that she would go in the Alice uniform because people
Right.
identified with Alice so much, and she had said Alice still lives on in all of us, right?
That's right. That was in DC at some
That was
point.
in DC.
Yeah.
I think was it Mo Rocca had interviewed her not that long ago on CBS Sunday Morning, one of the great shows that I've always enjoyed. And he asked her, because she sang all various versions of the Alice theme, which people, we've had a lot of guests on where I talk because of my television background. I miss jingles. I miss when TV shows had music and themes, and they rolled credits and there was a theme, the Love Boat. You would sing it, you would know what was coming on, you knew the Dick Van Dyke theme, you knew all of these shows, and the music and the open and the close and the feeling was very important. Alice, one of those musical intros that people can sing today, and she still performed it. Right?
She put it into her act.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she still
It's a
put
great
it in
song.
It is, and I think he had asked her on CBS Sunday Morning, "What did you?" And I always thought about it too. What version did you enjoy singing that theme to Alice? Did you enjoy? And you guys probably caught this. Did you enjoy when you ended it with "So Sweet" or "Ba ba 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 ba"? She actually preferred "Ba ba 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 ba."
That's iconic,
Isn't it? Yeah. I think there's a version. There's something online I saw where she did both. She did where she held that note forever, and it was only a few years ago. She was on stage. Maybe it was the Purple Room or 54 Below. She holds that, so sweet, incredibly long, and then adds on ba 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 at the end. For those, I mean, you fine folks and wonderful guests knew her very well. And Aaron had an opportunity to develop, a relationship with her, which is beautiful as well. For those who know Linda Lavin as Alice, how much would you say of Alice was in Linda Lavin, and how much of Linda Lavin was Alice? Start with you, Mark.
I I saw Alice a bunch of times, and I respect what it was, but I wasn't devoted to it. And it's over 50 years ago, I think.
Is that not unbelievable?
And so I didn't really know how much of her I found in it. I have to think in later years when she performed so many different memorable stage characters, I could see a lot more of her, and certainly her humor. Alice was not something I respected that she did it, and I was thrilled that she was known for it and it put her on the map. But I didn't really identify her with that character personally.
How about you guys, Jim?
I kind of feel the same as Mark, although the strength of Alice was kind of every woman, and certainly as an actress, Linda could be every woman, any woman. She could do anything, and all the characters around her were crazy and kind of over the top, but Linda was always just a wonderful actress in the middle of it all.
Exactly. Charles?
Yeah, I'm going to repeat the same thing.
Yeah,
I guess really during those 9 years of that
Yeah.
show,
9 years.
I was struggling trying to earn a buck and trying to get a career going. And maybe what year did it start? When was the first
76 to
76.
85.
I just graduated college, and so I really wasn't watching TV during that period. so I really kind of, I mean, I obviously knew of her, and oh, actually, the other day, someone posted on Instagram her appearance before Alice on Rhoda.
Yes.
Yes.
It was
Right.
brilliant,
Go watch
brilliant
that.
episode, and that's just a great lesson of her comedy technique, and the way
Absolutely.
she kind of breaks the rules. So she'll usually, in comedy acting, you pick up the cue right away and it keeps moving, but she would take these interesting pauses before each line, but it'd be so filled and you would know what she was thinking. You were reading her thoughts, which made the line even funnier. So that I was so thrilled to see that, because I mean, I guess in Alice she was kind of the calm center, wasn't she, of all these
Yes.
eccentric characters, and Linda was in life was bigger than life herself, and in the
She
theater
was.
she tended to play more aggressive, neurotic characters.
That Rhoda character was a foreshadow of what she would do in the theater later on, the sarcasm. And,
Yeah.
even before she had done Alice, she was cast that way. I guess her theater roles had her. She was a young, wisecracking second banana, smart or sarcastic. But that character on Rhoda, which I'd never seen before, definitely reminded me of so many of her stage characters years later.
Yeah.
How about you, Aaron, who learned to really appreciate who she was and her extraordinary talent, and going back and seeing the things that she accomplished, whether it is Alice or all the other things that she did, Rhoda, Barney Miller, and so much more. All these, I mean, countless movies, TV movies of the week, and so much more. What have you gained in terms of your additional appreciation as you hear these stories, but also see the additional things that she did in her career?
Yeah, well, like the rest of the panel, I can't speak to Alice. When I knew that she did it and I started working with her, of course, I watched some episodes, and like Mark said, I do appreciate the significance of that show. But my exposure to her as an actress was in the theater. I think I probably saw everything she did since I got to know her. No one needs to say another word about the fact that she was a great actress. We all know she was a great actress, kind of a limitless actress. One of the things that I do think she doesn't or didn't get credit for is being the musician that she was. She was a great musician, but more than that, she was a curious musician. I've known a lot of older jazz musicians, like music in their 70s and 80s and sometimes 90s, and there's a thing that tends to happen. Their repertoire gets smaller, their bag of tricks gets smaller. They in some ways stop engaging. Not all of them, but I've seen it a lot. And Linda, well into her 80s, I mean, really till the day she left us, she was always searching. She was searching for another song. She was searching for another way to do something. I'm talking about musically, and it's extraordinary. I mean, I recall a fond memory. She had a house in Hudson, New York, and there was a weekend when her husband Steve was out of town, and she said, "Oh, come up for the weekend and just hang out." And we one evening she just said, play me something, and she didn't mean like on the instrument. She like, play me a record that I don't know, and I would play her one, and then it would remind her of something that I didn't know, and she would play that for me, and we went back and forth, and I was just astonished with the people, and not just singers, the instrumentalists and the recordings and the songs and the composers that she had such access to mentally. It was, I mean, we stayed up till like 4 a.m. just listening to music, and she just loved it so much. And I was very inspired by that, but also moved by that.
Thanks for sharing that story. And before we bring the others on, tell us about being the bow tie activist. I think it's
Well,
cool. And you got a nice one on tonight for us.
Thanks. It's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment. There's no profound words about that.
There's no branding or anything that goes with that, or
no, no, there's not.
Because if you need to do any branding or any suggestions, Mark is there to assist.
I am.
You get the branding going with the bow ties.
Yeah.
How do you think, Linda, with all that we're talking about here, and you guys have been sharing some really beautiful stories, and we really appreciate you coming on so quickly again. Just, we're just getting past the holidays, and it's like the first full week of the new year here, and we put this together quick, and you guys hopped right on. You were like, when and where? Let us know, Jim. So I really appreciate that. How do you feel somebody like a Linda Lavin will truly be remembered by all of us and by those who continue to discover her and those who've loved her all these years? Jim, I'll start with you.
Well, I mean, obviously the world at large knows her for her television work, which was abundant. Right up until 2 weeks ago, she was working on Mid-Century Modern. I think that show's going to be a big hit. They'll certainly know her from that. And of course, Alice. What we'll remember her for, the great theater, the great music, but the incredible friend that she was. I mean, we didn't lose an actress. We lost a great, great friend. And she knew how to do that as well as anybody I've ever known in my life.
Beautifully said, and spot on. Charles, how about you in your darkness and intimate location there?
Wait a second. I think I really think she's a great inspiration for so many people to see how someone can keep reinventing themselves in their career, in their life, and have this great sense of adventure and that sense of vitality, which is so apparent in all of her work. I feel so fortunate that I got to really watch her up close create a role in a rehearsal room. And I tell you, it was the greatest acting lessons I could ever have, just observing. It was Allergist's Wife was a comedy, but it was very emotionally intense. And it was fascinating that when we started rehearsing, you would never have known it was a comedy. She was kind of laying in all these layers of like groundwork of honest emotion, and then eventually, gradually, it became more humor came out. But in a sense, she had this great confidence that she knew what the end result would be, but that she had to build it. And it's usually since in a rehearsal room we're kind of performing for the people who are just sitting there, whether they're interns or assistants. We try to get the laugh, and she wasn't going to do that. She really was there to work, and it was just the greatest acting lessons, life lessons to watch her. I'm just so grateful that my path somehow connected to her. I'll never forget her. I'm so grateful.
It's one of those people that you kind of thought would always be here, right? There's people that are in the world that you just think are always going to be here. There's just not even a thought that somebody's just not going to be around. She really was one of those kinds of people, wasn't she, guys?
She never had health concerns that she shared, at least with me. And so when this happened, I mean, she called me a couple of days before she died to say she had been diagnosed with lung cancer. And it was a complete shock because I don't remember her having, taking a lot of medication, seeing a lot of doctors. I don't think she was negligent about it. I just think she was a healthy woman. And then this just happened. And so when you say you always thought that she would be around. She's one of those people that you thought that about totally with her. For me, you know.
And isn't it great to be able to say that about an 87-year-old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she was just so young.
Yeah.
It seemed like she kind of, when she hit 60, it just sort of stopped there, and she just stayed this very vibrant, rather sexy lady.
Mm-hmm. Got another great photo. Look at this one.
Yeah. That's Tom Hubbard, her bass player.
That's a great shot.
Young Aaron.
Here's another great one. This is from Billy. Carol
Oh,
Burnett.
that's from Hollywood Arms.
Yeah.
A play that she did that Carol and her late daughter wrote.
That's right. Carrie, right?
Yeah.
Carrie
It went to
Hamilton.
Broadway, and that was opening night.
And they went all the way back, right? Linda and Carol. They
Yes.
were that, you know, whatever, Duplex and all those places in the Monsoir, all those years when those great dames were starting out. They started out together. Joan Rivers, Joanne Worley, Streisand.
Worley. Yeah. And this one we showed earlier when you were chatting, Jim. When was this with Elton John and Linda?
Oh, just an evening, you know.
Just an evening.
At my apartment. That was she was doing the Rosie O'Donnell show.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And she said, "Do you want to go with? We'll go to Joe's after. We'll get a burger." And of course, the answer is yes. I want to go to the Rosie O'Donnell show with you. And so her dressing room was right next to Elton John's dressing room, who was also doing the show. And we had that moment, that crazy moment where when you're with Elton John and Linda Lavin, thinking, who am I? What happened to my life? It was fantastic.
She took me to the Streisand concert in the arena, and Richard J., who directed the concert, had arranged for her to meet Barbara. And so we was hanging around backstage, and in walks Bill Clinton and Hillary. And they threw their arms around her. They had a relationship probably from that White House that you were talking about. And they would just, and so she couldn't wait to introduce me to him. So she would say, Bill, please, I want you to meet my friend and my lawyer. And he puts out his hand, and I put out my hand, and I'm shaking it, and I'm telling him how thrilled I was to be meeting him. And he is looking away, talking to Linda like this, and we're going like this forever. He would never look at me. He never stopped shaking my hand. He was so infatuated with Linda, and she was so proud that she introduced him to me, and I was there like I was a milking machine. It was hilarious.
He liked her. He liked her because I was at the White House twice with her, once performing, and then another time she was there speaking for some
women's rights.
It was a women's rights thing, or was it Israel? It was something about Israel. Anyway,
Israeli women.
Let's say it. Israeli women. But I remember him shaking her hand and really connecting with her. He liked her.
He remained connected to her while he was shaking my hand. That's the whole
thing.
That's funny.
Look at that. There we are. That is so phony baloney looking, but it's so real.
You look phony. She looks real.
Well, hey. Look, we just laughed.
You did.
That's my favorite.
You did. Yeah.
That's a great picture.
And again, there's
gorgeous.
Yeah. And the great shot.
What a couple.
And again, there we showed these earlier too. There's Mark, and there's her husband, Steve. There's Patrick Duffy, who was a guest on our show, Linda Pearl, all fabulous people. Been here. Just such great talents. And really, it came sudden. Nobody thought, would happen. And there's another Mark and Linda. What was this moment, Mark?
You got me.
It was a happy one.
Yeah, I think it was right after the pandemic when we were, able to get out. She was the first person that I actually left my apartment to meet. She came downstairs and we were wearing masks. And I think it was right after that.
Me too. I have a picture of us on a park bench sitting like a mile from each other in masks. I was wearing blue rubber gloves. I don't No, I can't tell you why. But I met her in the park, and we, we're
She walked the dog. She looked for places to, take the dog, and she.
yeah. But we just sat there terrified that the world was coming to an end, and
Coming to an end.
it
Right. There's
actually did
another
not.
cool photo we dug up.
Oh, that's so cute.
Is that like the Mad Show or something? That's early.
Yeah.
It looks like the Mad Show.
It goes back. It's 1965 in wet paint. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
65.
What's
But yeah, 1965.
I love doing.
And of course, Barney Miller. People have been commenting. They remember her in Barney Miller as well. And this is another wonderful shot too.
Oh Lord!
Wow.
With the Tony, right?
Yeah, that's Broadway bound.
Which is another great shot. Yeah, just some really beautiful things. Aaron, how do you feel Linda will be remembered?
It's a weird question. That I find that to be an odd question.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's one that I think about.
That's the one you faxed me this morning.
Facts. That's the joke. Facts.
Facts. Remember facts?
Like
For those who don't know what that means,
Aaron would fax.
I still do
FAX. Then they're the facts.
I still do. I still fax and send telegrams. I mean, anytime some great person passes, that is a question that comes to mind. And first of all, there's no way to know. And then the other thing I wonder is, like, does it matter and how? Linda her work meant so much to her. And I do think her work, the work that's recorded, will be remembered by those who want to remember it, if they want to go and find it. I do think it will have an impact. But for those who knew her, sure, the work is there, but I think the person eclipses the work. And Linda was part of an exceedingly shrinking group of unique people. It seems like they just keep going away, but she was, brilliant and absolutely singular and definitive and confident. And I mean, for someone to be able to change locations and roles and song choices as much as she could and have no apology, she's completely unapologetic about it. I think that's kind of amazing. So how the quote public remembers her or anyone else, I mean, I think that's for each individual person to decide. But I'll certainly remember her as an utterly unique person in my life.
You talk about that as far as people of her ilk sort of going away, and that is true. That is happening and obviously a part of life, but when it does, it takes a piece of us with them, and just a certain way that they did things and certain way of thinking and doing and giving it your all. And she was, like we said, she was one of those people who can do Nancy Drew to Muppets in Manhattan to be on, Broadway and everything else, and just take it all on with spunk and fire and vim and vigor, and, take on even voice roles of animations like Bob's Burgers and all the other things that she's done. Really incredible. Just really incredible. So those who will, fondly remember her like we do, can take that love for her, the incredible professional, the amazing talent, but you guys can also say that you were dear friends and you knew her off stage, off television, off the film set, out of the studio, and the fun that you had and the little stories that you had. And that's what you'll be able to take as we all share, publicly the stories and the life of Linda Lavin, but you'll have these little nuggets when you hear people talk about Linda, or it's 2 a.m. and a rerun of Alice pops on your TV, or whatever it is, you'll have, or her music, you'll have these wonderful warm memories. And coming on the show and sharing them with me and all of our viewers who are watching live right now, and they're commenting and they're loving it and showing their love as well, and those who are watching the archive, is a beautiful way to just continue to celebrate this iconic, legendary, beloved person, but this human being who left just a wonderful legacy of love and light and passion through everything that she did. And really an honor to have all of you here. And I invite you to come back, collectively, individually. We can talk about your individual careers. It would always be a delight. And I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you, gentlemen, fine gentlemen, for popping on. There's a few people, again, Billy Strich sent that beautiful video. Barbara Brighton, legendary comedian. She wanted to be here. She's under the weather. Evie DeMassa Jr., iconic producer, The McDouglas Show. I mean, Jeopardy, everything you think of. Regis Philbin, he wanted to be here too, but they're battling. And we send our love right now at the time of this broadcast to everybody in California, all of the folks who are dealing with those wildfires, and all of us send our love and heartfelt prayers, love from the East Coast to the West Coast here tonight. I tell you, Aaron, this was a delight getting a chance to meet you here on the show, and I hope you come back and see us, and I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you. And thanks for being so open.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Pleasure is all mine, and thanks for sharing the clip and the photos and your personal stories. It means a great deal.
Thanks for doing this. Thanks for caring enough about Linda to gather her friends and devote this time to it. We appreciate you for that.
The pleasure is all mine, Mark. I hope you enjoyed the time as much as I did as well. And Charles Bush, the incomparable Charles, you as well, my friend. You've been here a number of times and always a delight. Thank you for stopping by the Jim Masters Show as well, and hope you enjoyed the time with me and us.
Yes, thanks for asking me to join this estimable panel. We're all friends, so it's lovely just being together.
Absolutely.
Can we all meet at Joe's for a burger afterwards?
I like. Well, yeah. Some people were posting. We have to go to a diner because of Alice.
Joe Allen. No, Joe Allen.
Joe Allen sounds good.
I think so.
Ed, Mr. Caruso, you as well. A delight to have you here. And really, I made sure we didn't schedule this on a Monday night. I worked it around your Monday night busyness.
Thank you very much. My busyness.
Yep, the busyness. And I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you.
Thank you so much. Anytime we can talk about our friend Linda, we are there.
Absolutely. And come see us again anytime you just want to talk. Any of you guys that you're working on projects. Matter of fact, before we go, is there anything that you're working on, you're excited about, that you want to share, Jim?
Just show busyness, I get to do what I love all over the place, and I feel very lucky.
Cool stuff. Anything coming up for you, Aaron, you're excited about?
Yeah, we could talk about that another time, but I want to thank you again for doing this beautiful program on Linda.
I love that. That's a great tease to stay tuned for part 2 of the miniseries. And Charles, anything coming up you're excited about?
I'm always up to something.
You're always up to something.
Yeah,
you
always
are.
up to something. Singing, acting, writing.
Absolutely. And Mark as well. You too. You're always busy.
I can be specific. Actually, I'm producing a show in honor of the late Mimi Hines and Phil Ford. They're being honored with a star on the Walk of Fame in Palm Springs on January 21st at 2 p.m. And then that evening, we're doing a show at the Revolution Theater called A Pair to Remember, in which we're showing lots of film clips and speakers and a good time to celebrate Mimi Hines and Phil Ford.
That is wonderful. Well, congratulations on that. And of course, our mutual friend, Lucy Arnez, who we said would be watching as well. So we say hello to Lucy in Palm Springs, and Larry, who just turned 90. Happy birthday to Larry. Thanks, guys. Come see us again. Really appreciate all the time and your generosity of time. And thanks for helping us be a part of this very special tribute to the wonderful Linda Lavin. We'll keep the porch light on for you, as I always say. And you're welcome back anytime to the Jim Masters Show Live. You be well, okay? And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thanks, Aaron.
The end. Right, Jim? The end.
You did it.
And thank you,
did it.
Charles.
The
We started to do
greatest
it one by
line
one.
ever.
Charles, see you soon. And thanks for being with us, Charles. And Mark, thank you for being with us as well. Special
Pleasure.
guest star on the Jim Masters Show. A pleasure. We'll talk again soon, okay?
Thank you. I'd love it.
You're welcome. And Mr. Caruso, thank you for carving out some time in your busyness and joining us on the show. And come see us again, my friend, okay?
Anytime. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You be well. Take care. Jim Caruso and the gang here on the show. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this tribute we put together rather quickly to honor and celebrate the one and only Linda Lavin. Some personal stories. You know, we took a look at her background, sort of her bio and all, but I wanted to bring people in who had some wonderful stories to share about their friendship, their relationship, some funny stories behind the scenes of working with her. And because, again, I know a lot of people know her from the CBS series Alice. But when you do take a look at the body of work, it is extraordinary. She's done it all. And as we say, gone too soon. But wow, what a legacy she has left for all of us. We salute and celebrate Linda Lavin on this JMS Celebrity Tribute Special exclusive here on the Jim Masters Show, Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show series. We also appreciate the generosity of time that Mark and Charles and Aaron and Jim gave, and also Billy Strich with the beautiful video he created exclusively for our show. We send our love to Evie DeMassa Jr. In California, and also to Barbara Brighton in Vegas. We hope she's feeling a little bit better. She really wanted to be here tonight. And but what a class act of people, huh? What a group that we had tonight. And we really appreciate all your comments as well. You guys have been very, very busy. Thank you very much for sharing the love and all the comments from our viewers, our lovely viewers watching around the world. Yes. And hello to Lucy and Larry, Brad watching, and Pam watching, and everybody watching around the world. We love you all. If this is your first time, come see us again, right? If you enjoyed this episode of the Jim Masters Show series right here on the YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV, subscribe to the YouTube channel. There's over 1,200 and counting episodes. Loretta Swit has been here. Melissa Manchester, Marion Ross has been here. You name it, from film and television and stage and culinary arts and sports and comedy and Broadway and all of life. They come through and we have a good time. We don't have interviews here. We have conversations. Nothing is scripted. It's all free flowing. And we just put it together as we're doing it. And that's how I love it from my years on TV and radio, just the interaction of free flowing conversation. So we thank you. Like this episode, give it a thumbs up like on the YouTube channel. That helps us grow. Share the episode on your social media. And also subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. And do come see us again, everybody. We love having you here on the Jim Masters Show Live series. It means the world to us. And thank you to everybody for all of your watching and sharing and raving about and posting about our unique series. Everybody watching around the world. We have a lot of folks watching here in the United States and Canada. We have quite the audience in South America, Brazil, and elsewhere. We hear from Asia and Europe and Australia, New Zealand, wherever you're watching live, or Memorex. Later on, we thank you very much. Maureen says, thank you for putting this together rather quickly. We sure did. A wonderful conversation with your special guest, Jim. Just a wonderful thank you as well. And Maureen is in Arizona. Kathleen is in New York City, some of our regular faithful. Welcome back, Jim. We just got back from a couple of weeks with family in warm and sunny Florida. It was beautiful. Hope your holidays are beautiful as well. And you have a wonderful new year. Kathleen's in New York and says, welcome back, Jim. Have a great night. You as well. And Leo is here. Leo is a super fan of our show. Hey, Leo, I told you we were going to be on. And thank you for watching. He's a big, big fan and supporter. There you are, Leo. Love your profile photo as well. Really nice to have you here. And everybody watching, feel free to comment, even when the show's not on, right here on the bottom. You can comment, let us know what's your favorite Linda Lavin memory, whether it's Alice or otherwise. We really appreciate you being here and sharing this time with us as we have presented this very special tribute to somebody special to all of us, the wonderful Linda Lavin. Gone too soon? Sure, absolutely. But what a legacy of love, laughter, tears, and joy she's left for all of us, huh? And music and film and TV, stage, all of it. Really something special. Happy to put this together for all of you, and thank you for watching. This is your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, as we always say around here, take care of one another and love one another. And don't forget to do the very same for yourself. It's important to do that. And come back here to Lovely Hall and see us again on the Jim Masters Show. Take care and be well. We'll see you on the next one. And cheers.